In this video, we'll discuss editing surface points. If you'd like to follow along with this video, please open the file 0510 editing surface-points.dwg, located in the training folder as discussed in the Working with this dataset video. Most surface edits are done by selecting the surface and choosing the appropriate surface edit from the contextual ribbon. We will look at editing, removing, and adding surface points, not to be confused with Civil3d, COGO, or survey points. Let me go ahead and select the surface, and we already have a surface style that does enable us to do any kind of surface editing, especially with points. But let's go ahead and discuss where the surface point display is actually controlled. I will go to the contextual ribbon, and I'll go to the Modify panel, and then in the Surface Properties dropdown, I'll go to the Edit Surface Style command. So the Points tab is where you change the display or control the display of the actual surface point. So this is not to be confused with a Civil3d COGO point, which is controlled by the point style. So notice how I can change the display mode to use the surface elevation or exaggerate it. I can also change it to absolute units as far as the size goes, or have it scale automatically. Most probably you want to just keep it at the same size and not have it scale automatically. However, the default 3 feet is typically a little bit too large, so I'll just change this to 1.5. You can also change the symbol that appears for the point. And this just uses the regular AutoCAD point symbols, and you can select the one that you prefer. I'm going to go ahead and pick this one here. You can change the color and so on of it, but in general, you can just keep it to be by layer. Click OK, and that will now update the symbol for the point that surfaces will display. Let's go ahead and zoom to the lower part of our surface where we have a few crown points. Let's say we want to add some points to interpolate them and get tighter triangulation. I'll select my surface, and then in the contextual ribbon, I will pick the Edit Surface dropdown and select Add Point from the dropdown. I will snap to the midpoint of this triangle, and when I do so, notice how the elevation immediately comes up, the current elevation of that surface. And so if I want that elevation, I can simply hit Enter, or I could type a new value in if I wanted to. I'll hit Enter. Notice how the triangles appear automatically. So this is a quick and easy way to simply add some additional triangulation points to tighten up your triangulation. Once you're done, press Escape, and that's it for the surface points. Let's say I want to edit a surface point. So as I zoom in here, let's say the surveyor made a mistake and came back to me and said, you know, the elevation at 0.788 is really 102.9. So I could edit the survey point or the COGO point, but instead of doing so, if let's say I don't have access to the survey database because I can't change that elevation because it's locked to the survey database, I can simply edit the surface point. Note, if you change the surface point, it will not update the COGO point and vice versa. Even if you rebuild the surface, the survey point that it's reading from with the elevation that it initially had. I'll select my surface again, go to Edit Surface, Modify Point, and I'll pick my point, press Enter. Notice how it tells you the elevation, and now I want to type in the 102.9. Press Enter, hit Escape, and if I hover for a second, you'll see that my elevation is 102.9. You can also remove points, as you probably saw in that drop down there. Removing points is very easy. Let's say I want to remove this random shot. I can simply select the surface, Edit Surface, Delete Point, and then select the surface point, and press Enter. Notice how the retriangulation occurs. And that's it. One of the great things, as mentioned before, about these surface edits is that they're stored in the Surface Properties dialog box. So in the definition, you will see all of the edits that you have made to your surfaces. If you want to remove one or temporarily turn it off, you could simply toggle it off, click Apply, and rebuild the surface. Or if you want to permanently remove it, and there's no undo of this when you exit the file and come back in, you can right-click, Remove from Definition, and it will permanently remove that surface edit from the definition. This concludes this video discussing editing surface points.